Hello everybody, it's Slippery Jack, and today I'm going to be talking about the new album by Mogwai, As the Love Continues. So, uh, got short hair again, wearing a sports jersey. A bit like old times, isn't it? Yeah. Anyways, so I've been doing a pretty bad job, like the past, past year and a half at keeping up with the new releases. So I'm gonna try and do a little better at that right now. So I'm gonna be spending the next couple of videos trying to catch up on a few new releases that I thought deserved to be talking about. I thought deserved to be talked about. And yeah, this album. I mean, you could call it new, but it's been out it's been like what, a month or something since it came out. So yeah, but since I'm reviewing it, I guess you can already guess that I like this album. So, anyways, Mogwai are a Scottish post-rock band that have been releasing consistently for a little over 20 years, and they are definitely one of the most unique and interesting bands in that genre. And they have gained quite a large following. This album actually debuted at #1 in the UK, and I thought, wait, a post-rock album going going to #1, like that's not something that happens every day. And for the past couple of years, I thought that post-rock was dying. These bands are failing to reinvent themselves. You could argue that they aren't, that they are reinventing themselves. After all, that's what post-rock is all about. But I have begun to feel like a lot of these groups aren't really doing anything that I haven't heard before that is just completely blowing me away. And its popularity has also seemed to decline a little bit throughout the decade, but nope, Mogwai just proved me wrong. Like, they are alive and well. The genre is alive and well, and yeah. So with this album, well, first of all, Mogwai are, like I said, they are known for being one of the most unique bands in this genre and one of the most iconic. And they have always been able to reinvent their sound, but also stay true to, their sound. And that's exactly what they have done with this album. As the Love Continues is definitely its own experience. They've added some new sounds to their palette. The most noticeable is the strong presence of electronics and the way they're integrated throughout this album. They aren't as prominent as, say, on Rave Tapes, which had some moments where the electronics were actually leading the songs. And yeah, there are some moments like that on here, but the guitars and the electronics are always side by side. They're neither is more prominent than the other. But I think that if I have any problem with this, it is that this isn't anything new for a lot of for rock music. I mean, it's not supposed to be rock music, it's post-rock, but a lot of modern rock bands, or a lot of the older rock bands, they're trading out their guitars for the electronics. They're keeping the guitars there, but the electronics are playing a much larger role, and Mogwai is doing the same exact thing with these electronics. So the way they are used is not the most inventive, and I wish they could have done something a little more interesting with them, but you know what? They work. They give this album its own sound, and it shows that they are keeping their sound fresh and up to date. So it's not ruining the album for me. And there is also the fact that this album is probably their most accessible yet. I've never heard a Mogwai album click on me. I've never had a Mogwai album click with me on first listen, because there's so much experimentation going on, and that experimentation is still here, but they are bringing these sounds down to earth. to make them easier to digest. Usually I hate it when art bands like Mogwai start becoming accessible, but it didn't really bother me with this album. To the Bend, My Friend, Tonight We Vacate the Earth is a very strong intro. It's got some piano at the beginning, but also an awesome post-rock climax and crescendo. And you've got those signature grinding guitars and some distorted electronics, and it just sounds so big. Definitely one of the best ones on here. Here We Go is more upbeat and electronic sounding. It's got what sounds like a heavily treated guitar that is so affected. It barely even sounds like a guitar at this point. And it's got a beat that comes in every now and then that's kind of reminiscent of early electronic dance music, as well as some vocoders, and it's really catchy. But then there is Dry Fantasy, which might be my favorite song on the album. Yeah, it's my favorite song on the album. This is by far the one I've listened to the most, and it's just got some really addicting melodic guitar riffs that just shimmer, and a great electronic lead melody that really hooks you in, and it's just super easy to get lost in. There's lots of cool sounds that you get to hear on this track and some small feedbacks, and I just love those feedbacks. I just like it's almost loose. It's like that kind of looseness that I really like. And I don't know what else to say except this is probably one of my new favorite Mogwai songs. Ritchie, Sacramento is probably the most radio-friendly song I've heard from this band. It's quite simple, but executed very well and refuses to leave my head. And don't let the term radio-friendly make you think that this is a straight-up pop song, because it's not. It still keeps those post-rock ethos, and there are plenty of moments that remind you this is Mogwai you're listening to and not some pop rock band. And every time Mogwai uses vocals, it's always really good. I wish they'd sing a little bit more. Drive the Nail seems to be going for like an almost 90s Brit rock sound, but with that post-rock structure. Really good stuff. F Off Money is the complete opposite, being dominated by electronics. You have some vocoders at the beginning that part just that's the catchiest part of this song. Those vocoders refuse to leave my head. And it's got a really awesome climax as well. And it reminds me a lot of Scotland's Shame from The Hawk is Howling. It's got a similar darkness and melancholy that runs through it, but I think Scotland's Shame does this better, but this is still cool. Ceiling Granny sounds like what would happen if Mogwai tried their hand at 90s American alternative rock, more specifically early Smashing Pumpkins, and I really enjoyed it. Midnight Flit, is another great one. Its strings really give it a soundtrack quality to it, and that's something Mogwai has proven to be really good at. They've written a few soundtracks to movies, and all of which are awesome. And there you get some more strings on Pat Strain's strings. This one has a darker feel than the former. Supposedly, We Were Nightmares sounds like something that could have been on Hardcore Will Never Die, but You Will. Sorry, I love that title. And it's got it's got the same structure as those songs. It's more of like a rock build-up than the post-rock climax. And I really like it. I like this kind of build-up. It's something different. And after all, that was the album that got me into this band. And it ends with It's What I Want to Do, Mum, which is the perfect closer. It's full of emotion, and the build-up, the melodies, the guitar, it's just executed so perfectly. And when Mogwai wants to make you feel something, they really make you feel it, and this is no exception. So overall, this album is really dang solid. There are no bad tracks, and it definitely builds on their sound. I wish they could have gone for something less predictable. I mean, a less predictable direction. But all in all, it is a unique album that has that I have plenty of reason to return to. It shows that even though Mogwai have been around, they can still keep their sound fresh and interesting. I'm overall feeling an 85 out of 100. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to support this channel. And I will see you all in the next one.